What's up, everybody? Today we are doing the epoxy enamel floor paint in the garage, and I just wanted to walk you guys through the process. So I've moved all my stuff from the actual garage, so as you can see, it is cleaned out as far as everything that's on the ground. There's still stuff hanging here, but everything is off the ground. And what we're going to do now is we're going to use this pressure washer I bought at Harbor Freight. Had it on sale for like 75 bucks. So I'm pretty excited to use that. We have this Grime cleanser and degreaser. So we're going to use that to clean up some of these oil spots that you see on the garage here. But the first step before we get started with anything is I need to sweep out the garage. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick, and then we will get started with degreasing. Alright, so sweeping out the garage took quite a bit longer than I had anticipated, and so it's probably been about an hour or so, but it's really important on these things. The most important part of this whole process is how much you are able to clean it. And so I spent a little bit extra time cleaning the floor just to make sure that it's extra ready to be painted. I did want to show you guys the floor before the degreaser got used, and then we can do it after, that way you guys can see it as well. So I'm going to go ahead and show this. So as you can see, I have some pretty solid stains. These are mostly oil stains. But even like the dirt on this step. So hopefully this degreaser will actually get rid of most of this grime. First, we are going to degrease the floor using this Rustoleum product. It's a cleaner and degreaser, and the idea is that it gets rid of a bunch of stains like this. So according to the directions on this, you're supposed to dilute the product with water, and then you pour it all over. Make sure that the floor remains kind of moist. So if you need a mister, you can use a mister to keep the floor wet. And you let it sit for approximately 20 minutes. And then I'm going to use this Harbor Freight power washer to power wash hopefully all the grease off of the bottom or off the floor. So I will go ahead and get this mixed, and then I'll show you guys me spreading it out, and we can go ahead and get the power washer going. So exciting stuff. So what I'm doing right now is once you get everything swept out, you actually dump that soap on there, and if it's like a really bad stain, then you just go 100% on there. If it's like general maintenance stuff, you dilute it 1-to-1. For my garage, it probably did make sense for me to dilute it just because of how bad some of these stains are. And so I have largely just dumped it straight on the floor. So now what I'm doing is I'm wiping it all down, trying to rub the degreaser into the concrete, and then I'll power wash it afterwards, and hopefully it'll get all the stains and stuff off, and then we can etch it and get set up for all the paint. So as you can see, the floor is sudsed up. You can tell that it's starting to lift a lot of the grease off. If I rub my foot through here, there's a lot of dark spots, dark puddles where the grease is starting to come up. So while this is, you have to let this sit for about 20 minutes while it's on the ground. And while we're waiting, I'm going to go ahead and open up the pressure washer. Alright, so day 2. We got the garage floor completely cleaned up. As you can see, there's still some spots. One thing that you can do in order to test if the floor is actually ready, if there's discoloration like that, is you can pour a little bit of water on there and see if it soaks in the water. And if it does, then it's ready for the paint. So We've tested all the different spots like here and a couple other places around the perimeter, and they're all ready. So what we did kind of in the meantime between the power washing that you guys saw in the previous clip is we actually mixed the etching material, which is just like a citric acid pellet that comes in the box with the Rustoleum EpoxyShield. And what you do is you mix it, I think you mix each pouch with 2 gallons of water. And we had 2, so I mix it with 4. And then you pour it on the floor, let it sit for about 20 minutes. You'll hear it kind of foam up and bubble. And then once the citric acid is kind of set in and etched the concrete, you sweep it out with a push broom. A lot of people recommend that you have a squeegee that you use as well. Unfortunately, I didn't have a squeegee, but the push broom seemed to work pretty well. So we're gonna go ahead and get started here. The way, kind of the procedure that you have to go through in order to mix these things is the paint itself will come in a bag like this. You will, there's a seam like in between the two, like the part A and the part B. You'll just break the seam by squishing both sides of the bag, mix it together for 2 to 3 minutes, and then I plan to put it in a roller like that and use this roller with the handle. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I will show you guys. I plan on doing about half the garage first, so I'll show you guys that, and then we'll see the finished product. So stay tuned. We're gonna cut this bag open and go ahead and get going. So, as you can see, there's a part A and a part B, and then there's a seam that runs down the middle. According to the directions, you just squeeze it to break it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do so. Also, depending on the temperature, you have like if it's like 80 degrees, you want to put on immediately. But if it's 60 degrees, then you want to wait 30 minutes before you actually put the coating on the garage floor so that it sets right. So it's right at about 80 degrees today, so I'm going to go ahead and put it on immediately. It says mix up part B and then part A first, make sure that you don't have any issues there. And you put it on the ground and you roll from part B to part A. There you go. Now it's all together. As you can see, I broke the seam in the middle. So now I'm just going to massage these together. It says for 2 to 3 minutes. I'm just going to keep doing this. Alright, shaping looks good. We're going to go ahead, I'm going to squeeze the paint down to the bottom so that I'm not dealing with a bunch of the paint up here when I cut it. And then we'll cut it and get started. Also, side note, I took all of the chips, I put it in a cup so that it's easy for us to be able to sprinkle it on afterwards. So I'm going to go ahead. Sorry about all the jitteriness. Grab our chips and get this on the road. Go ahead and pour this in now. Oh man, it stinks. We may end up having to open one of the doors anyway. Alright, so we're gonna get started. It says roll it in 4x4 squares. Alright guys, so it's been 72 hours since we did the original painting on the garage floor. I just wanted to show you guys how it came out. Apologize, didn't do more like actual filming of me painting the floor, but it's pretty boring. So I figured I'd just finish up the floor, let it dry, give you guys an update. And then we can talk about some things that I wish I would have done differently. If I were to do it again, I would do these things differently. But for the most part, I'm really happy with this. And I can also talk a little bit about what the cost was for me, because I feel like I got a really good deal. But this is how the floor came out. So very, very happy with it. I'm hoping that this gives some good chemical resistance as far as, oil and things like that, from cars. As I begin to work on cars and have projects and stuff in here. So really excited about this. One thing that you can see is slight discoloration around like the edges. The reason that is because I went a little heavy around the edges because I figured that would be like a wear point for the garage. So I'm not super thrilled about how it looks as far as being a little bit thicker. You can tell it's a little darker than other areas, but from a practical perspective, because this is supposed to protect the garage floor, I think it's a really good investment. Some things that I would change when you first start out and you actually are sprinkling on the flake that goes on the floor. I would highly recommend that you just use your hand, pick some up like in a pinch and then throw it in the air. The reason I say that is because I started off with putting the flake into a cup and then trying to hold the cup like this and kind of shake it. And the problem with that is that you end up with this. And I'm going to try and focus here. I don't know if you can tell, but the flake here is significantly thicker than anywhere else on the floor. And so it makes, I mean, nobody's going to know because eventually I'm just going to put stuff over the top of it. But I know, and it's frustrating for me. So if you guys are going to do this to your garage, highly recommend just using your hand, throw it in the air, and the flakes will float down and it'll be a more even kind of texture on the floor. So don't do what I did. Go ahead and do the kind of sprinkle method. Just wanted to take a second to talk a little bit about the cost for this. So I spent, let's talk a little bit about what it usually costs, and then we can talk about what I paid for it. So usually these kits are right around $100 to go ahead and do the floor. This is a 2-car garage, and the kits that I saw on sale were 1 car, so I ended up buying 2 kits. But I actually found these on clearance, so I'd highly recommend going to like Home Depot, Lowe's, any of those stores that carry this kind of kit, and check the clearance aisle. So I bought, so I was walking through Home Depot. I thought, I've been thinking about doing this for a while, and I saw the actual kits on sale or on clearance. They were listed for $30, which I thought was an excellent deal, significantly cheaper than each kit would have been anyway. And then when I went to go ring up, they were even further on discount, and they were like 17 bucks a piece. So I think the total cost for me to do this was $35 for the actual kits. I did end up having to buy some like degreaser that went on the garage floor in order to get those nasty oil stains that you guys saw before up. So that was about $19. And then the actual roller was right around like $5 or $6. So for under $100, I was able to do this to my garage floor. I think it's a great investment. I'll let you guys know, if I have any hot tire pickup or anything like that. But I just wanted to update you guys. I'm very happy with the final product. I'm going to start moving stuff back into the garage as opposed to on my back porch. But yeah, I'll let you guys. Maybe I'll do like a 6-month update or something and let you guys know how this holds up. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure that you hit the like button. Also subscribe. Now that I have my garage floor done, I'll be doing more videos where I'm working on cars, various building things, throughout my house, all that stuff. So if you like that kind of thing, stick around, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I appreciate you guys. Take care.